Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Performance E-Streaming. It is the ANZCAR Funder here. Wednesday night, it is Funder night, and we are at COTA, yes, Circuit of the Americas here in Austin, Texas. I am Carl Wilkinson with you. Glad to be back on the airwaves tonight. Joining me up here in the booth, I have Mr. Mark Johansson. Mark, how you going, mate?
Yeah, good, mate, and welcome back. Thanks for coming back so quickly. Gives my voice a bit of a break.
Not a problem. And of course, we have Mr. Matty Hunter. Matt, how you going, mate?
Yeah, good to have you back, Carl.
So, COTA, always a track that throws up a few tricky moments. It's a place that can be not everybody's favourite. It's a track that people love and many more hate. But it will be an interesting round for this, round number 6 of the season. Of course, we are at halfway point of the 2023 season 1 for the Thunder Cars. And, well, championship-wise, it's Jason Martin in the lead. He's got a 12-point gap to Josh Micklemore, his teammate, in second. Darren McKenzie, the man we're looking at now, is sitting in third position, 17 points off the lead. Then we have Dave Douglas in fourth, 32 points down. Josh Carroll-Walden, 54 points down. 58 points down is Matty Ray. Brad Fenley sitting in seventh, and it's Norman Clark, Stevie Dubb, and Paul Jackson. But what we're going to do now is talk you through a lap of COTA with this man, Darren McKenzie. So this is always a tricky part, the first part of the track, coming uphill here into turn number 1. On the brakes, dropping it down into first gear, try to get the car turned in. Don't let the back end step out too much. Heading down towards turn number 2, a very fast right-hander. This will bring you to the S's, a very tricky set of corners that cause the tyres to screech in pain as they go up in temperature. This is turns 3, 4, 5, and we'll come into 6 now. You have to slow the car a bit more for this long right-hander as you come up towards turn 7 next. A very, very tricky little left-hander. Get the car on the curb. Don't go too far to collect a off-track. Into turn 8 now, going uphill over this big bump in turn 9. The sun is in your eyes here, as you can see, as you go into the kink of turn number 10. Left-hander, very fast, almost flat out down here towards turn 11. This big left-hand hairpin even. On to the big, long back straight, where you can get a bit of a breather, have a little bit of time to relax as you are full throttle all the way down here until we hit turn number 12. Mackenzie doing a good job of keeping the car on track, getting a nice run onto this straight now. You want to get the best exit you can. Now you're going to want to brake around back here as you see that rubble strip coming into line of sight. This is turn number 12. Get into the corner here, hit the apex, nicely done. Up towards turn 13, a right-hander. And these are these long radial corners now, so it's almost a double apex here for turn number 14 as well. Now down to 15, again, another long left-hander, double apex corner. You've got to get the car just right for turn number 16. Little dash of power as we come up to the big, long carousel, 17 and 18 here. It's just a long, long corner. So easy for back end to step out, which it does for Mackenzie. Keeps it intact there. But you've just got to get the car, and the tyres are screeching in pain from the heat on the exit of there. Turn number 19, a sharp left-hander, and then we come up to the final corner. It's corner 20 here, and this is again another slow left-hander. But you've got to get it so right as you get onto a long start finish straight for another lap of COTA.
Sorry, Carl. What you've got to also be careful of on some of those turns there down that back end of the circuit is those big yellow ripple strips to say, hey, you're coming too far left or too far right. You definitely don't want to hit them, because I have seen guys rip the front tyres out.
Yeah, absolutely. Those big sausage curbs are the most dangerous things in the world, and they will easily rip off a bit of your suspension. And it's such a tricky track, Mark. I mean, you know, it's one of those tracks that many drivers hate, but in the right car, this place is very rewarding, and sometimes even in a NASCAR, it can be fun.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen a few years ago when the V8s come to here, they really put on a good show. And I guess I'm not a circuit person, so that's why I'm up here tonight with you guys. I just can't handle or can't get the knack of turning right anymore, except for in a real car. So Well, all I can say is good luck to these guys. Don't see Andrew Dyson out there tonight, so that might give someone else a bit of a go. Jason Martin at the moment sitting on top of the timesheet, but by the looks of it, Kai Turner's right in there behind him, or right alongside him, Carl. So it may prove to be a surprise winner tonight.
Absolutely, it's a very close run actually. Less than a second for 6 cars up the top end. We've got Darren McKenzie and Andy Barber setting identical lap times. Andy Barber just sitting in P3 though because he set that time first of all. It's an interesting little stat there for both of them. Identical lap times. It's always good when that happens. Kai Turner goes around, sets a faster time, but doesn't take Martin's pole position from him this time round. Jason's going to be chuffed if he can get pole position here at Coda because he does not describe himself as a track specialist. He has struggled in the past, but he has improved a lot throughout his time in the series, and it's been great to watch that. Jason Martin improving. It's a rare thing to have to say, but he has been doing a great job of increasing his overall lap time on these street courses and road courses and closed circuits. It's been a fantastic thing to watch. One of the other things, of course, COTA is notorious for is off track. It's very, very, it's a little bit too strict sometimes. It doesn't take all 4 wheels to come off the track. It just takes 2 wheels to go off the track sometimes here, and it will ping you. And that can be a really tricky thing. So expect to see a few drivers copping a drive-through penalty tonight. We had the trucks here a few weeks back, and there were a couple of drivers that got caught out with that one, especially if you make a little bit of contact as you're racing somebody. It's very easy to get pinged and end up having to make a drive-through.
Yeah, definitely. Also, there's a couple of spots there where we may see guys, as the race goes on, the brakes heat up just that little bit too much if they get on it too hard, and we may see a few guys end up out in the marbles and the gravel traps on some of these long straight at the end of some of these long straights, Carl.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the tires as well. The brakes get really hot and they lose their ability to stop you, which is really not good on some of the harder corners. Generally, they cool down a little bit for turns 1 and turn 12, which are your big heavy braking zones. But turn 11, that nasty hairpin onto the big long straight, after you've gone through that very twisty section, that's where the brake fade starts to happen. And also your tire temperature has gone up a huge amount in that part of the track. So the car gets really, really problematic to drive. Joshua Carroll jumping up into P2 there, just a thousandth off Jason Martin. That is a very quick lap by JCW, but just not quick enough.
Yeah, but the thing is, can he put 40 laps tonight? Can he put 40 of them together?
Well, that's it, isn't it? It's linking together those laps. The consistency is key on a track, any track really. But a place like COTA, if you can be consistent, it can really help you out. And well, we'll see how that one goes when we get into the race, which won't be too long, as the cars will start to perform their gridding up process in the very near future here for round number 6 of the ANZCAR Thunder Series here on Performance E Streaming. It is round number 6 of the season, 6 of 12, of course. So up on the front row, it is Jason Martin taking pole. I think this might be his first pole on a road course for ANZCAR, at least in my memory, with Joshua Carroll on his outside. On the second row, we've got Jai Schultz and Kai Turner. Third row in, it's Andy Barber and Darren McKenzie. On the fourth row, it's Josh Micklemore with Aidan Schultz. Row number 5, we've got Urquio and Georgeson. Sixth row, we've got Barry Neal and Michael Campbell. Seventh row sees Tristan Koch next to Sean Decay. Eighth row is Nan Curvis with Jordan. Then we have Brad Fenley on the 9th row, and he'll be starting Gary Wellman, Ruben Phelps, Phil Bissett, Matty Ray, Norman Clark, Mark Smith, and Tristan Yelland, I believe. Yeah, Tristan Yelland back out there. Nice to see Tristo out in the field, of course. Got the 2 Tristans out there, Yelland and Koch. So, of course, the start of the race, you get a little bit of a drive to the start-finish line. Of course, you don't have to do a full parade lap, thankfully. Otherwise, we'd be here all night. But it is a tricky one here because you have to go through some very tight corners. And iRacing likes you to try and keep side by side constantly, and it's not easy to do in these cars. So you'll see a lot of people just easing off a little bit here at the start. So there'll be a few odd little gaps forming up until they get to around turn 19, turn 20, where they'll tighten up nicely, where the track gets a bit wider, a little bit easier to go 2x2, of course. The start is always a crucial part for COTA, though, because you're going up to turn 1, brakes are cold, tyres are cold, drivers aren't in their rhythm yet, and it's very easy for a big accident to happen there.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest corners to get right, especially off the start when we've got 24 cars there trying to go into a very tight left-hander car.
Absolutely, and all it takes is a lock-up, and you can have a car spearing you very quickly because you sort of double back on yourself as well. So it's very easy to see a big accident get a lot bigger in that part of the track. But they're all starting to move away. We've got 24 cars out there tonight. Nice to see such a big field here at COTA for the Xfinity cars. Sometimes it's a track that causes a few people to run and hide, like yourself, Mark, and I do not blame them at all because it is not an easy track to run on, and these things do not make it easy either.
No, it's something I'm still trying to come to grips with. But yeah, I just rather not be out there and not be a mobile chicane for anyone.
I get that one very much. It's actually the last place I raced at COTA, so it's it's fresh in my memory banks at least. So I'm feeling quite prepared for this week of commentary duties for COTA. Sorely have loved to have been racing at a different track though, because it is definitely not one of my favourites.
No, I can put it to the top of the list of unfavourite tracks.
Yeah, it's quite high up there. It's a bit of a garbage dump to me, and that's funny because the place is built on a bit of a garbage dump as well. But we'll go into some history later on as they're coming up to the start-finish line. The green flag will drop very soon for the 21 of Jason Martin. On the inside, it's the 35 of Joshua Carroll Walden on the outside. We're about to go green here for tonight's round of the ANZCAR Thunder here on Performance E streaming. And it is green and go, go, go for the COTA round of the championship. Good start there by Joshua Carroll Walden. He got a huge leap over Martin.
Yeah, definitely a great start, and we've seen Joy there trying to get up the inside of Martin, but unfortunately he had to pull out, and so he didn't get his nose taken off. But he's making a great run around the outside here in the turn 2 and 3 into the S's, Carl.
Lightning reactions by those guys. They look to have a little bit more confidence on the colder tyres at the moment. Maybe they're dragging their brake a little bit on the formation lap, just trying to get a little bit more heat up there. Looks like everybody has made it through the first set of corners without incident. Great job by everybody to do, because it is not easy in the least. Everybody looks to be running at the moment, but up the front it is Carroll Walden, Jai Schultz, Martin Turner, Mackenzie, Barber, Micklemore, Schultz, Urquio and Georgeson.
Yeah, definitely. Look, my money tonight's on Jai Schultz. If he can keep it together, he should have a good run, but you can see there in the background, big accidents.
Sean Decay there, he has gone around and he has lost it through turn number 10. Said watch out for that one on the opening stages of the race, and unfortunately that's what's happened. And then Tristan Yelland has had a similar incident himself. He's had exactly the same incident and caught Decay as well.
You can see there, like Urquio just making up a spot there on the inside. Nice stand-up move. But they've all settled down, Carl, and they're all playing nice tonight.
I'm not surprised to see people not pushing too hard in this early stage. I mean, you can obviously make a position in the first couple of meters of the racetrack, but sometimes it's best to get these tyres into temperature just a little bit slower than you normally would want to. If you heat them up too quickly, they cure a little bit too fast, and they don't have the same grip level throughout the race sometimes. and it can cause you trouble later in a stint. So we might see Jason Martin coming back a little bit later on, as he's just gone a little bit slower in that opening lap. Let those tyres come up to temperature a little bit slower, not pushing them too hard, and he might be able to fight back a little bit later. But Joshua Carroll-Walden at the moment is flying. He just set his first lap was about a second and a bit faster than anybody else.
Yeah, just looking at it, he's nearly got that gap out to 1.2 seconds now. As I say that, it just clicked over the 1.3. So he is having a great run at the front.
So just see the replay here of Sean Decay here. And as we said, through turn number 10, it is such an easy place to lose the car, especially on this opening lap. You're going over the brow of the hill. The car gets light from that. And then all of a sudden, you've got to turn it in. It gets a little bit too much curb. The car gets unsettled. And then it loops around and he makes the horrible, horrible feeling of contacting that barrier. And then he'll have a visit from Tristan Yelland as well, who made exactly the same mistake, but not quite in as a spectacular fashion. He managed just to sort of slow it down a little bit more, but did make contact there. So unfortunate for both those drivers. They have a lot of work to sort of get back into this race now. It's not over and done for sure, probably for somebody like Tristan Yelland. But I imagine for Sean Decay, he's going to be just driving around and trying to keep some pace. Could have some damage to the radiator as well with that sort of incident.
Definitely. Just looking at back up the front. JCW's now got that lead out to 1.6 seconds over Joy. But Martin's still definitely giving Schultz a hurry up, and along with Kyle Turner. He's had some bad luck, Kyle, this year so far, but he's definitely coming back with a vengeance here tonight, Carl.
Yeah, Kyle's been very quick tonight. He's been setting some really good laps. I think he was the fastest car in practice, which is always a nice thing to have because it just gives you a little bit of confidence. But watch him through his long run pace. He's had some really good long run pace. In practice, he seemed to have some good patience in the car as he makes the move on Martin now. Down into turn number 20, and you see that just paying off, and he's going to make the move on Schultz as well. He's got the move done on Jai Schultz too. Just wondering if there was a little check at Jai, because just going back to a bit of a look at it now, he just makes the pounce, gets a beautiful line there, Kai, and up into this section now. Kai Turner has got the job done. Jason Martin looking to possibly try and make a move into the next section of track, but no, it's Kai Turner who comes out on top here and makes the move stick up into P2 for himself, and he has got some good pace tonight. Keep an eye on that car. We're expecting drivers to probably come in around about lap 12 to lap 14 for fuel and tyres, as they won't be able to make it to the very, very end on their same set of boots, but they will probably sort of cut the race in half to try and mitigate those circumstances, but see if anybody can extend a little bit and give them a little bit of an easier run home on some fresher boots.
Yeah, when I was down in the pits before walking through the garages, mate, the guys are saying their runs, they were going out and doing about a 20 lap run, and by the end of that 20 laps, those tyres were ready for the rubbish heap. So I think you may be right. They may look at cutting this race in two. But in saying that too, you don't want to risk running the whole race on those old boots, I don't think.
There's a lot of time loss out there on those tyres as Tony just gets a little bit wide through that section of track as they're coming up into the twisty bits of turn 13, 14, 15. You've got to be careful of the ever lovely word of the undercut, as you can get a lot of time gained on fresh boots over the rest of the field. Fresh tyres do make a huge difference here, so keep an eye out for that. But of course, if you get those fresh tyres too quickly, the driver behind has them. It's just whether they can make up that time or not.
Yeah, definitely. And another one that I've just been back to look at, Carl, is Matty Raymond. Again, he started down in 21st, and he has already made his way up into 15th spot. So another good, nice little drive for him.
Yeah, Matty Ray's had some good runs here at Coda. Again, it's not really his wheelhouse, you've got to say, but he's been having some good runs on the road courses, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see him up in the top 5 even at the end of this race. Top 10 is definitely an option. Another one of those drivers. Oh, big moment for Mackenzie. I think he's looped it up. Sorry, Urquio, sorry. Lachlan Urquio's just had a moment up there as he's got tagged by, looks like Aidan Schultz in the 52 up at turn number 1, and that spun Urquio around, and then he's had to flick spin it around, and that will really chew up those tyres, make them very hot, and you can see here he's struggling to get through the S's at the moment. We'll try and go back and see that replay. So just up into turn 1 here, long uphill section, and it's so easy to just clip somebody because you think you're going to make the move, you think you've got the speed, but then they double back there, and there's one of those racing incidents because there's a gap there, you're going to take it. There's also a car that's going to inevitably double back there. It's an incident that's always going to happen, but the problem now for Urquio is those tyres are going to be hot, very hot, and they won't cool down for a long time.
No, definitely not. Even though we've started this race in the morning, the sun in Texas will come up and it will come out with a vengeance. So the track will get hotter as the day goes on.
Yeah, the sun is a ever pressing problem as that starts to get higher in the noon. Then the cars will start to struggle a little bit more because that track temperature will rise, and that's going to change the way the car drives as well. So it might feel really good in this early stint while the track is cool, but when you get to that next step, that sort of final stint, when you're on those old tyres and the track is creeping up in temperature, it could really hurt you if you're on some very old tyres, and that's where it could pay off if somebody extends their stint a little bit. Up the front though, the gap is closing. It's now down to half a second. I said watch out for Kai Turner and some other drivers who might have just saved their tyres a little bit, not pushing too hard in that early stint and bring their tyres up to temperature a bit slower. They might have some speed, and that's exactly what's happening here. Turner is closing the gap on Joshua Carroll-Walden here, and we are looking to have a fantastic battle at the front. Just behind him as well, there's some good action still going on. Jason Martin, Darren McKenzie, and Jai Schultz all battling it out for position. Jai Schultz up in 3rd position at the moment, but we'll keep our eye on the leaders.
Yeah, I've just been back and having a look at some of the cars, Carl. The 274 of Luke Georgeson, very second hand on the rear end, so it looks like someone may have got into the rear of him, and Aidan Schultz is carrying some a fair bit of damage on that right front from that contact with Lachlan.
Yeah, damage, it's not always as bad as we've got a good run going on behind at the moment. It's Schultz and McKenzie here on the long straight. Up the front, it's still status quo. Luckily, we can see both cars in this shot here, so that makes it a little bit easier. And looks like nothing has come of either of those guys. They've sort of stayed in their positions, but they're starting to look a lot more racy throughout the field at the moment. It's one of those tricky things of keeping your eye on the action at the moment is always hard.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I found with the trucks too when we were here a couple of weeks ago. It was very hard to decide to where to point the cameras.
Well, anywhere where the 65 wasn't is probably the best bet.
The hard part's remembering which camera is where.
Yeah, it's tricky to explain to people who sort of don't know, but we're using camera packs today, and I think there's like about 25 cameras in this camera pack, which covers us well. As a big move up the front as Kai Turner takes the lead through that final corner. That looks to be Turner's preferred passing spot as he makes the move. And will Carroll-Walden get back at him here? They get very close up in turn 1, but they pull it through nicely now to the S. Is not really a traditional passing spot here. Can be done, but it's a very risky move, and it can often come a cropper. As Turner runs wide, and that might even net him a slowdown here, and that is going to be costly. Hopefully he didn't get a slowdown there. He'll be able to keep it, but you can see how close JCW got to him then.
Yeah, definitely. I've just been in and checked those camera packs, those camera views. Matt's definitely got his work cut out tonight. 41 different cameras we can use tonight. So good luck, Matt, and getting the right camera at the right time.
Yeah, it's a bit of a struggle, that's for sure.
It makes the job more fun. Cough, cough. Great action going on. Just behind him, the battle is still pretty hot as well. All the cars on track at the moment up the front of the field. Well, the top 10 are covered by just over 11 seconds at the moment, which is very close for a road course. Well, lap 6 at the moment, so they're doing a great job, and they're giving us a great battle out on track. As we plod along here at Texas, and some great moves shaping up, and it's actually been a very spicy race so far, which is nice. I mean, often we get with these street circuit road courses, a little bit less action and passing, but tonight's shaping up to be a really close race.
I'll just bring you update back further in the pack. Ruben Phelps has just got the job done on Gary Wellman from the 8th position. So another, he worked on the back there for a couple of laps, and he's finally got the job done.
And closing in on Luke Georgeson now as well is his teammate, Mr. Matty Ray. He's looking to try and get close to Gary Wellman and Luke Georgeson and try and get into the top 10. He'll be happy for a relatively quiet night. He's got Lachlan Oakville behind him as well, who's recovering. You know, Oakville is pretty darn quick in those cars as well. It's definitely given us a lot of places to look at the moment, because up the front, in 3rd position, Joey Schultz has just taken a big clip of the curb, and that's closed it right up between himself, Mackenzie, Martin, and Andy Palmer's just holding on to the back here. And this fight is really, really close stuff. Every time I look at it, they're looking to try and make a move on each other.
Yeah, and coming up behind them is Josh Micklemore, mate. So this is going to be a 5-way battle very shortly.
Yeah, it's going to change things up a fair bit. Just looking a little bit further back in the action, well, a little bit further back, I should say, a lot further back. Kobe Jordan is having a bit of a battle with Sean Decay at the moment. Decay's had a really impressive run to catch back up to the tail of Kobe Jordan, and in a car that looks it's about ready for the scrapyard. He's just ahead of Mark Smith at the moment, so that's sort of at the tail of the field, and that's given us battles all the way across the timesheets.
Yeah, it's good when you can get a race like this. Yes, they're spread out, but they have little groups that form those battle groups, as you said, Carl, and it makes Matt's job and our job a little bit harder to decide where to go and where to watch.
Absolutely, we love the drivers for that. Makes our job easier. Barry Neal is a bit further back, and he is so far back because he's taken a pit stop by the looks of things. Well, he's been through pit lane, so I think he may have actually. I wonder if he got a drive. No, he's come in, but he's actually made a proper stop. So an early stop there for Barry Neal. Obviously trying something different. Maybe he had some repairs needing to be done because he's got some damage on the back. But that's hurt his race so far.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, Carl, that the rear of that Toyota is very damaged, and as you can see there, Kyle's got to be careful of locking up that left front, and we've just had a big moment for Guy. He's dropped right back down, so I didn't quite actually see what happened.
He had a bit of a lock up there, so we're going to catch the replay right now. It's a little bit further back. So there it is, and he has a lock up coming up to turn 1. Looks like Jason Martin was thinking of making a move, and just in front of them there was a lock. The lock up, I think, caught Jai off guard, and it sort of threw him off a little bit. And it's just caused him to go into the corner a bit deep and, well, lose a whole heap of spots.
He lost 3 spots in that, I think it was, or at least 2. But it looked like Andy Barber may have come back.
Yeah, it's one of those things, as a driver, when you see a big puff of smoke in front of you sometimes, especially up at turn 1, you sort of have to look into the corner and look into a bit of a different spot from where you're used to looking. And sometimes that split second is enough to make you miss your braking point, and that looks to have been the case for Jai Schultz there, unfortunately. And it just cost him a whole heap of real estate on the track. And the battle is so close there that it's dropped him back a few spots as well, as Ori goes bit wide there as well, and that's going to be costly, because all of those little mistakes are going to start pinging up, and he'll start accumulating those penalty points. Of course, if you're sort of new to iRacing, if you go off track, you get a strike, and if you get more than 12 strikes, I think it is, 12 strikes, then you have to do a drive-through. If you get 18 of those strikes, you get disqualified. So there are a couple of drivers that are close. Barry Neal is one of them with 10 points, as well as Tristan Yelland. Now, I always say sometimes this is slightly off, as our iRacing thing doesn't always get it right. Good battle up here with Gary Wellman and Maddie Ray and Lachlan Erpio, though. Wellman just dropping back a couple of spots as the 2 SRM cars come blazing through.
Yeah, while you've got your eye on that, I'm just keeping an eye on Joy, and Micklemore is closing in on that, on the back end of Joy. So, and as to say that, Andy Barber's just ran wide and closed the gap back up between the 3 of them. So that's going to be another 3-way battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Yeah, it's really heating up, and just in front of them, Jason Martin is all over the back of Mackenzie at the moment. He is putting the pressure on. I said watch out for Jace. He came in a lot slower on his tyres. He didn't push them as hard in the early stint, and I think that was just keeping it so he had a little bit more up his sleeve in this part of the race. We're on lap number 9 of 24 here, and Martin is setting some fairly consistently quick laps at the moment, faster than the leaders as well, more importantly, as all big lock up there for Kai Turner as well. He keeps locking that inside left front wheel, and that's going to hurt him a little bit as this goes on. The more you lock it up, the more it affects the tyre. It gets heat in there and it doesn't cool down, and you start getting problems with it, and it just becomes a bigger problem every lap. So I wonder if he might look at coming down pit lane a little bit sooner than some of the other drivers.
Yeah, I do believe, you've seen there a couple of turns back, Mackenzie's car starting to get that slide over the back, on the back wheel. So, excuse me, Martin will be watching that and making sure he can pick those the weaker spots for Mackenzie and try and really put the pressure on him.
Absolutely. A driver that's having a rough night of it at the moment is the driver of the 26 Decay. He's just had another little spin. He luckily didn't take too much damage, but the car is definitely looking a little bit second-hand. It's still plugging away, though, but it has dropped him off the battle with Kobe Jordan and Mark Smith.
One slightly used Mustang.
Just up in P10 at the moment. We've got a great battle going on between Georgeson, Raymond and Erquio. Georgeson having a solid run here again tonight in the road courses, and he is going well, but look at Raymond. He's just got the inside there as they come out of turn 20. Can have a nice run up to turn number 1 here, and should be job done. Watch out for Erquio, though. He's going to pop out from behind the 274 up to turn 1 we go, and those 2 SRM cars just sneak ahead of the Area 51 entry.
And as I said earlier, Carl, you watch for Matty Ray. He's now up into that top 10. So he's been very consistent this season. A lot of top 10 finishes. He just hasn't been able to get that perfect run and get into that top 5 too many times.
Nice. It's been a bit of a year of oddly inconsistent consistency for Matty Ray. He's had a few awkward incidents so far this season, but it's starting to come back to him, and that consistency of his good finishing positions coming back to him. A little bit further down the field, there's a nice battle going on for 17th and 18th position at the moment. Mr. Norman Clark is currently sitting in 17th position. So Phil Bissett just behind him in the Lucas Oil production entry. A teammate of yours, I believe, Mark. So I'm sure you'll be cheering him on as much as possible.
Yeah, definitely will be. The team boss is away with work this week, so he should be back for tomorrow night for the Cups here, so we'll see how they go tomorrow night.
Absolutely. That's going to be a very different car to drive.
Definitely. Just an update. Andy Barber's checked out, left Jai Schultz, but Micklemore is still closing in and dropping back a little bit. So the real battle there is between Micklemore and Jai Schultz.
Up the front, Kai Turner has started checking out a little bit as well. He just set a very quick lap on old tyres, a 2 minutes 18.9. So pretty consistent lap times for him. He's in the sort of 2:19 mark pretty consistently, and with those tyres, they're starting to drop off. Jai Schultz has come in pit lane now. He's decided he's going to be the first of that top group to come in down pit road. That's going to leave him with a long way home, but he's going to gain a huge amount of real estate on those fresh tyres.
I'll just keep an eye on him and keep you updated with what he does. Right side's up.
Yeah, we'll be taking all four for sure. It's one of those places where it's not worth just taking the two sets.
So left side's up. No, it doesn't look like he. Oh yeah, he's taken a little bit of fuel. He was in his box for 14.5 seconds. So fuel and tyres for Jai, and he's exiting pit lane now. And he comes out in front of Storm and Norman.
Yeah, and once those tyres get up to temperature, he's going to be going very quick indeed. Jason Martin is still hanging on to the back of this battle as Joshua Carroll just gets a bit of a lock up, and that's going to lose him a position to Darren McKenzie. Here, McKenzie jumping on that chart and has a beautiful run. Now it's a drag race down towards turn number 12. And as we get towards the carousel section, on the brakes, who's going to be the latest? And it is McKenzie. He's got the inside line. Carol Walden was a little bit later there, but it's going to turn to the inside, and McKenzie does a beautiful job of just sliding that car in front of JCW. Beautiful, beautiful work there.
So Martin would have been watching that, and he'll be probably sizing up JCW for a move in the next couple of laps to see if he can get the job done there too.
Yeah, it looks like JCW start to struggle a little bit with the rears, and it's not surprising at this stage of the race. Of course, the thermal degradation, the heat of the tyres effectively becomes really, really bad on them, and as the carcass of the tyre wears off, as JCW pulls into pit lane, as that tyre wear gets more, the thermal the heat gets worse, of course. So it's a never-ending struggle, but Carol Walden's decided now's the time to pit. He is going to be trying to fend off Jai Schultz with that one, but he's also wanting to take a little bit of the undercut. Josh Micklemore as well coming down pit lane. So a few people now doing the stop, direct, sort of right on the bubble of the halfway point. So this is where we were expecting some people to come in. Now, who is going to take it for a long run here? Who is going to take it just an extra couple of laps and have those really lovely fresh tyres till the end of the race?
I'd say Kai Turner would stay out for another couple of laps. Like, he's got 2.5 seconds over McKenzie. So probably wait and see if McKenzie ducks in this time round. And I think Kai will probably jump in the lap after.
Yeah, it might be a really nice move for the 408 just to have those fresher tyres to the end. Of course, it will lose you track time, it will lose you track position, because those fresh cars, hard cars, will jump you in the pit stop. But you're going to have a much easier run to the end of the race. And, well, track temperature has gone up by 2 degrees Celsius now, and it's only going to rise as the sun starts to climb over Austin, Texas.
I'll just give you an update. JCW has just passed Michael Campbell for 14th, and he's getting the move done on Brad Fenley for 13th. So JCW back up into 10th now, telling me.
So just looking at the times as well, Jai Schultz 4 seconds off of JCW there. So that just shows how quickly they've gained. I think there was about a 6 to 8 second gap when Jai pitted. So he's gained some time for sure, but he's not managed to jump JCW at the moment. Pit lane time is around about 36, 37 seconds. Looking at the times right now, as Kai Turner, Kai Turner and Jason Martin have come in, it's Darren McKenzie who's going to go the long way. He's going to go that extra little bit of time.
That's unusual because Darren's the one that normally comes in early. And has Martin missed his... Oh, no, I was just going to say, looks like Martin may have missed his pit box just a little bit.
He's right at the end. So, Matty Ray as well, he's sticking it out. So, Raymond, Phelps, Barber, McKenzie are sticking it out for a longer stint. So, they're going to take a bit of punishment here. As you see, JCW just coming up. Kai Turner locks up on those cold tyres as Martin's making the move. They're 3 wide going through turn 1, but it's JCW who comes out on top. He's got nice warm tyres, of course. Now, Kai Turner just has to keep that car in contact. He just don't push too hard, Kai. Just keep the car smooth. Let the tyres come up to temperature properly. Watch out for turn number 10. Just get the car up to temperature before you push too hard, because it's so easy to make that mistake and overdo it on this opening little bit of the stint. Of course, JCW's got very nice warm tyres at the moment. Those guys behind them are on cold tyres. They've just come out of pit lane, and those tyres will be very cold indeed, not wanting to stick to the track. It won't be until they get to around about turn 15, 17, that's when it will start really paying off for them. To get a little bit of a lock up there. Martin is keeping right behind him. Carol Walden will pull out a bit of a gap now. He'll get a little bit of a run here, but watch Turner come back at him. Great bit of driving there by all 3 of those guys. So close up at that point of the track. It's so easy to make a mistake. All 3 of those guys doing a fantastic job tonight, keeping those cars safe. Turner pushing very hard though. He wants to get back on the tail of JCW, and you can see that gap closing now as he's got the fresh boots to do it. McKenzie coming down pit road this time through.
And Andy Barber's in pit lane.
Yeah, I'd say we'd see all of those guys popping into pit lane.
Oh, Ruben has stayed out. Ruben has stayed out for another lap. So he will inherit the race lead.
Oh, bonus point for that, of course.
Yes.
And Matty Ray's coming into pit lane now as well. So the battle for the lead of this race, it's not technically the lead of this race. That's currently for P2. As you see, Darren McKenzie just exiting pit lane now, and he's just got to be careful on those cold tyres, just not to lock it up. He gets through there nicely. Just go smoothly in your out lap. Don't push too hard. Just get those tyres up to temperature nice and calmly, and then go pushing on the next flying lap. And that really is the best option to do. And McKenzie could come out of this one with a very good advantage. We saw how close he was with Martin before. He'll have much fresher tyres now by about 5 and a bit kilometres, which is a fair bit of length on a track like this, and that will make that car much nicer to drive to the end of the race.
Yeah, definitely. Just trying to work out, I think if Ruben pits this lap, he'll probably pop it back out around 9th or 10th. So it's going to hurt him a little bit waiting that extra lap, because these other guys now on fresh rubber. He is the only one that hasn't pitted.
So on my timing, he'll pop out behind Gary Wellman, so he'll be in 12th position. So it'll just depend on how quick the SRM pit crew want to go tonight, and we'll see if Matty Race slips a few extra dollars to the mobile brake and mechanical repairs pit crew, and see if we can get Ruben Phelps out a little bit faster. But he's got to hit those marks absolutely spot on tonight, and he'll get himself out just in front of Gary Wellman at the moment. So it will be a really good battle off pit road for that car. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, the battle between JCW Kai Turner is starting to get a little bit more heated as Ruben Phelps keeps it out for another lap. So he wants to get that bonus point at the moment. He didn't get it last time round, but he has got it now. So, just that extra single point can mean a huge amount sometimes, and it can really help out the championship as we've got Kai Turner getting a really good exit out of 20 here up to the start-finish straight. They get contact between the two cars. JCW not wanting to move an inch out of the way of the 408. The 35 cuts in. He's had to go wide a little bit here, and that's going to cost him a little bit here. He's had the run down. He should have the inside line now, though, for the next corner. He'll have the inside. They make contact again. A little bit of door rub in there. That unsettles JCW. It's going to give Martin a bit of a run, but Kai Turner takes the second place in the race as he goes wide there. He gets loose off the corner. That car starts to lose some rear grip, and this has allowed Darren McKenzie to catch right up as Kai Turner holds it. He holds it just about, but that car has slid, and those tyres will get very hot indeed.
Yeah, definitely, Carl. You could see there through those S's that he was sliding that car, that rear end of that car. That is going to hurt those tyres. If I was Martin and Darren McKenzie, I'd just stay with him. Don't push your tyres, because I think these two boys at the front are going to run out of rear grip.
Oh, as Martin makes a mistake there, goes over the curb, and that might have cost him a slowdown at least, but it's hurt his run off the corner. Drag race between himself and McKenzie at the moment, and McKenzie is in the prime position to take that position off that little mistake by Martin. Hopefully it didn't cause any damage to the suspension. So we've got some good battles going on as well. A little bit further down, Jai Schultz has got Josh Mickelmore all over the back of him with Andy Barber as well. But Andy Barber, he came in a little bit later. He's got some fresher tyres on that car. That's going to help him out a little bit in this race, and that could really help him out in the near future. I wonder if Ruben is fuel saving like an absolute.
He's in the pit lane. He's in the pit lane.
Yeah. That makes sense. I sort of caught in the corner of my eye that I thought he had passed the pit lane, but I just had this wonder if he was saving like a boss to try and, try something very different. But no, he's going to come in now and have some very fresh tyres to the end of this race and battle it out with his teammates. So it is Kai Turner in the lead now. Joshua Carroll the second, Darren McKenzie in third, Jason Martin fourth, Jai Schultz, Josh Mickelmore, Andy Barber. Ruben Phelps on the exit of pit lane is coming. And he's just got out ahead of his teammate. So very nice work. He's got ahead of Aidan Schultz and Matty Ray by the looks of it.
Yeah, and Lockie just passed him just as he come to the end of the pit lane wall. So that hasn't hurt him too bad, but yeah, it's a lot to ask those tyres to do in 9 laps.
It's better than I thought it would be, because when I was looking at my timing screen before, I had him coming out behind Matty Ray. So this has worked out better than I expected. This is really good news for Ruben Phelps. He's got a couple of seconds to make up on Urquio, and then he has a lot of time to make up on Andy Barber, but he has got a lot fresher tyres. He might be able to sneak up into possibly P6 at the end of this race if he continues with that pace.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get much higher than that with the gap.
Oh, Kai Turner's had a big moment. Turner has a big moment coming into the carousel sections. Gets a big tank cyclone, goes sideways. Those rear tyres have overheated and he is struggling at the moment. And you can see here he's acting as a bit of a cork in the bottle for those cars behind him. He needs to let those tyres cool down. He just needs to have a respite of a couple of seconds just to get those tyres to cool down, because he is really, really struggling through these long, multiple corners, these multi-apex corners, as JCW makes the move. He makes the uppercut under. Big switcheroo here. Great racing going on as it is Turner versus Carol Walden, and Turner just about keeps the lead again, but it is a fantastic battle for the front.
Yeah, definitely. You can see that rear of that car really starting to slide now. JCW's got the great run up the main straight, and it looks like Darren McKenzie's going to go with JCW again. Going to go 3 wide, and Turner tight locks up, touches McKenzie as they come out.
They are 3 abreast there. That is crazy stuff, but they keep it going. Joshua Carol Walden now has the lead of the race, and it probably work out for Turner just to almost have a cool down lap. Just take a deep breath, not push too hard, don't fight for position. If you can, just sort of go a little bit easier on this next few meters, just so you can let those tyres just relax a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And Phelps has made that move on his teammate Urquio to make it up into 8th spot. So now the next car in Ruben's sights is Andy Barber.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that battle for sure, as Martin looking to make a move on McKenzie. There's a big dive bomb by McKenzie, who takes 2 positions in that dive bomb. That was the latest of late breaks as they make contact on the exit. They're a little bit rubbing. These guys are very happy to rub doors with each other, but while they're battling out, it's helping Micklemore catch up to this fight.
Yeah, and Martin now up in the 3rd. I think Turner's tyres are shot.
As Carol Walden locks up now, he goes very wide here, and that's going to be costly for Joshua Carol Walden there. And I gotta wonder, he must be getting close to there must be a few drivers getting close to those drive-throughs now. Unfortunately, I think one of them might have been Gary Wellman, as I've seen him disconnect from the server.
Unfortunate for Gary, because he I'm sorry, I'm thinking of the Cup cars. He hasn't had a great run in the Cup cars this season, but I just can't remember how he's been going here in the Thunder Series.
And we've just seen as well from Sarah K. Esberg, thank you very much for letting us know. Cody Jordan's just incurred a drive-through penalty, unfortunately. Never fun stuff. But up here, we've got a battle for P2 at the moment as Darren McKenzie runs away. He's got those fresher tyres, remember, and he is making hay while the sun shines, and he is getting a nice gap over Carol Walden at the moment as he did that amazing dive bomb. Carol Walden locks up again, and this could be Martin's opportunity to make the move. He's making that pass, and he's getting through to P2. Jason Martin up into P2.
So the real battle, I guess, here is going to be now 3rd spot between Turner and JCW. Martin's just got to stay nice and smooth, and he should be able to get it home in 2nd. But the big move, of course, is Darren McKenzie. He's out in front, and he's now opened up nearly a 2-second gap over Martin.
Remember that Josh Carroll Walden stopped a little bit earlier as well, so his tyres are a little bit older than Martin's. So I wonder if he's starting to struggle a little bit now as well, as Martin makes the big lock up there. But this fight is giving us some great action.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm just keeping an eye on Ruben. He's closed that gap down a little bit, but I think he's going to run out of laps.
Well, he's about
before he gets to Andy.
He's 3 seconds a lap faster than Barber. If he can keep up that kind of pace, it won't be too long. Of course, it will drop off a little bit. So I think he might be getting to his tailgate quite sort of in probably the next couple of laps. Probably in the next 3 laps, I'd say. We've got 6 remaining, so I think that's going to be one to keep an eye out for in about 3 laps' time.
You can see there, Ruben's just trying to be nice and smooth.
So just behind this epic front pack battle that we've had, we've got Josh Mickelmore leading the charge. He's got Jai Schultz just behind him, with Andy Barber. This trio of cars is chugging along nicely, and those leaders took a lot out of their tyres, and I wouldn't be surprised if these guys might just start creeping up to the back of that lead pack come the end of the race. Then you've got Ruben Phelps and Lachlan Urquio in 8th and 9th at the moment. And watch out for Phelps. He's on some of the freshest tyres out there. Third is a trio of SRM cars as Matty Ray sits in P10 at the moment. One of the big gainers of the race. It's himself and Ruben Phelps battling for that title at the moment, both on 11 positions. Aidan Schultz sitting in 11th position at the moment in the 52. Got Brad Fenley having a good battle at the moment with Luke Georgeson as well. Speaking of battles on track, we've got another good battle going on for 12th and 13th position at the moment. I always forget the name of Fenley's team. I know it's to do with beer, but my brain keeps switching off for it. But Brad Fenley up there in a really solid position with Luke Georgeson having a nice little battle here for 12th and 13th spot. Michael Campbell sitting at a slightly lonely position in 14th position. He's got he's not too far off the back of
Tristan.
Tristan Koch. Oh yeah. But, there we go. He's actually got past Tristan. Yes, sorry, he's sitting. So yeah, they've changed positions very recently. That's why it's thrown me out. Tristan Koch sitting up there in 14th position with Michael Campbell just behind him. These two are going to have a good battle as well, as Campbell's coming back at Koch now. This fight is going pretty well here as well. Barry Neal sitting in 17th position, but we'll keep our eyes on this battle as it goes on between Campbell and Koch, because that's probably one of the biggest battles we've got at the moment. And a little bit further back, we have Phil Bissett sitting in 16th spot at the moment. So just keep our eyes here because it looks like we might be shaping up for a bit of a move here. Can't quite make it work. We'll get the run off the corner. Not quite. But Phil Bissett next in line in 16th position. Then it's Barry Neal sitting in 7th spot. We have Norman Clark just behind him in 18th position. Jamie Nankervis in 19th spot. In 20th position, we have Mr. Mark Smith. And then it's Kobe Jordan and Sean Decay rounding it out. Drivers still in the race. We've lost Gary Wellman and unfortunately we lost Tristan Yelland as well. Lovely to see you out on track, Tristo. Great to see you out and about. Hopefully we'll see you back out in the near future. So up the front, the battle is starting to close a little bit between Martin and Mackenzie. This fight has got some fangs left in it, as well as the Carol Walden and Turner battle. The 35 and the 408 are going back at it now, and it looks like Turner has done exactly what I said he needed to. Just taken a bit of a deep breath, relaxed the tyres a little bit, relaxed in the car a little bit, cooled it down a tad, and is now getting back out on track in full attack mode. So these two look like they're going to be battling it out for the third place on the podium in the very near future. Just behind him, you've got Mickelmore having a really good battle with Jai Schultz and Andy Barber. These three cars separated by absolutely nothing. It looks like they've got a tow cable behind them at the moment, keeping each other in check. And catching up is Ruben Phelps. It said it would be about 3 laps for him to catch up that pack, and well, we've got one more lap for that to happen, and it is looking very, very likely indeed, as he is very close to the back of Andy Barber now.
I didn't think he'd catch it quite as quick, but as you said, he was 3 seconds quicker than these guys, and he's still posting quicker laps than these guys. So I'm hoping for Ruben that he can get the job done and get up into where is he? Up in the 4th or 5th place.
With his current pace, I mean, he is very likely to get up into P5 as Joshua Carroll-Walden and Kai Turner start battling it out again as they go into the S's side by side. Kai Turner's got wide, he's had to go off track. It's going to get very tight there between the two. Has Turner, oh, contact between the two, that is going to be costly. That could cost them a drive-through penalty here. One of them could easily get a drive-through penalty for that one.
I think Kai's going to have a drive-through. I think that sets them up to 12 incident points and Carroll-Walden on 10, so I think Kai's going to have a drive-through from that.
Kai Turner has got a black flag next to his name. He has got a drive-through penalty. That is disastrous for Turner. Just that little bit of contact is the thing that tipped it over the edge. A little bit further back, Ruben Phelps was making the move on Andy Barber as well. Phelps getting up into P7 in this race. And we said watch out for contact, we said watch out for track limits and these drive-throughs because they accumulate very, very quick indeed. And Joshua Carroll-Walden is now going to have to be on his very best behaviour. He's going to have to keep that car within the lines. All it takes is one lock-up and you run a little bit wide and you'll end up with a drive-through for yourself. And look, that is such an easy thing to happen. A little bit further back, we've got Ruben Phelps making the move on Jai Schultz now as well. Phelps could easily get P5. It's going to turn into P4 here. Could we see him on the podium tonight? Up at the front, though, it's Mackenzie and Martin battling it out as Martin has got a good run on Mackenzie here. Mackenzie just struggling a little bit possibly now. It's just that car's looking a little bit nervous on the rear tyres. Martin is looking a lot more stable. And these two are really giving us a show at the front. We've got 3 laps remaining. It's going to be 2 laps remaining very, very soon. And this battle is going to bring us some great stuff as Kai Turner, I believe, just ducks into pit lane to serve that drive-through. Martin looking to make the move on Mackenzie. He's looking to make a little bit of a dive up turn 1, decides better of it. Will he try for the overshot, try and get the next run down into turn number 2 and 3? Doesn't quite have the pace for it this time round. Tell you what, championship-wise, this is really looking good for Jason Martin tonight. As Mackenzie gets a big amount of oversteer. Back end, stepping out, stepping out, stepping out. This is going to give Martin the run. Championship-wise, this is going to be very good for Jason Martin on one of his weakest places, weaker tracks as well, on a road course. And he could possibly take a win out of it tonight. I don't think he would have been expecting that coming in.
Definitely not. We spoke to him last weekend on the trucks, I think it was, and he said he wasn't looking forward to this joint. It's wasn't a place he liked, but he's definitely proven himself wrong because he's definitely put on a great show tonight.
He is indeed, and as he makes the move on Mackenzie, look up, big 4-wheel drift there, and that's allowed Mackenzie to get the jump through. A little bit further back, his teammate of Josh Mickelmore is having the move done on by Ruben Phelps, as Ruben Phelps works his way up into P4. Now with JCW having to be on his best behaviour now, he's going to be driving on eggshells basically. It's so horrible when you've got just one strike next to your name. Like you have nothing that you can do, so you can't push as hard. Ruben Phelps, of course, he's probably got a few more up his sleeve. By my screen, just looking now, Ruben's on 8 instant points, so he's got a couple of instant points he can use, and he can use them to his advantage, not by cutting the course, of course, but by just making the corner a little bit wider, or just making it a little bit of a cheeky cut off the corner. You know, he can absolutely take advantage here as Mackenzie gets a big slide on again, and this is going to be Martin's chance once more to the S's. Contact between the two. Little bit of a bump and run there as they are really, really going hammer and tongs at the moment at the front of this field.
I think Jason will be pretty desperate to get a win on a road course. I know he really doesn't like the road courses, so yeah, for him to get a win on it, he'd be pretty stoked. So I imagine he's going to pull all the tricks on the book he can.
He is really going for it at the moment. It's been a incredibly worthy run for him tonight as well, and getting that pole position and the race he's put on for us has been great. But he desperately wants to get that win. He's going to try and get the drag down the big long straight. Now he tucks in behind Mackenzie, tries to take advantage of a little bit of that draft, a little bit of slipstream in here. Will he make a late lunge in to turn number 12 here? He's thinking about it, but can't quite get on the brakes late enough there. Of course, his tyres are starting to wear out as well as Mackenzie's, so these guys are really, really pushing at the moment, and we're about to see the white flag go out, so it will be the final lap this time around. We are getting very, very close to the end of this motor race.
Yeah, definitely. I think Martin's best option is either the turn 1, turn 10, or turn 12, I think it is, would probably be the best spot for the overtake move.
Well, he's looking to make it done here. Side by side as they come onto the carousel. This is going to leave him for a long way round on the next set of corners. Just doesn't get the run there. He's really, really trying for it, and he's going to try and get the run here onto the start-finish straight up into turn 1. They are side by side. You see up in the screen there as well. Joshua Carroll-Walden has got Phelps and Mickelmore right behind him. Mackenzie's been very good on the brakes as they go in. Oh, there's contact, and Mackenzie goes round. And that is not how Martin will have wanted to take that position, I am sure. But just behind him, there is the battle between Carroll, Walden, and Phelps. And Ruben Phelps has got through. And right now, Phelps is looking, going, hold on, I'm very close to possibly winning this race right now. Because I think Jason Martin might have got the black flag for that one.
You're right, he will be on 13 incident points. So
that was a costly mistake for Martin, and that is a crying shame there as he gets the penalty there. Just watching it up to turn 1, just not a huge amount of room for error, not a huge amount of gap there, and Mackenzie comes in. Martin has to block up the brakes, and that's where the contact is made. It's not a huge amount of contact. Mackenzie catches the car just in the nick of time, though, and gets it the right way round. But that's changed the race considerably right now.
Well, that'll give Mackenzie the win. JCW second and Phelps third.
Well, no, JCW's Ruben Phelps is up into P3 at the moment. Ruben Phelps is going to get P2 in this race.
P2, okay.
So as we come through, I'm sure Jason Martin will probably want to take the checkered flag and take the visual victory for this one. He has had a worthy run with that one. He's had a very good race there.
Just seen in the background there, Mickelmore run out into the tyre barrier.
That's costly for Josh, but he's managed to keep it there. One thing I would say is keep an eye at the front between Phelps and Mackenzie, because Phelps has got a chance of winning this race. Remember, his tyres are so much fresher. He has got tyres that are much, much fresher than Mackenzie's. When will he do it? Martin's coming into pit lane as they come out the final corner. Phelps tries to get the power down, but it's Mackenzie coming across the line in first spot with Jason Martin just behind. Ruben Phelps will come home in second position as Jason Martin will have to face that penalty. I think it will sort itself out. We'll see. We'll have to wait for iRacing to do its thing. Should mean Joshua Carroll-Walden will come home in third spot. So he managed to just about keep hold of that podium position. I think the big charger there is Ruben Phelps. 16 positions gained in this race and almost got the victory.
Yeah, definitely a great run there by Ruben. Great pit strategy to run that little bit extra longer. We've seen him do that the other night in the in the Cup cars, but that really hurt him. But tonight it's really worked for him. And
Yes.
I've got to say, the other person that we've been keeping an eye on is Matty Ray. That will actually probably either promote him either into sixth spot. So that's another great run for Matty.
So, I don't know if it's because not everyone's crossed the finish line yet, but I got Jason as the winner still. So, I'm just going to wait for everybody to cross the line. I think that might be some iRacing shenanigans at the moment. We've still got Kobe Jordan coming through with Sean Decay at the moment. Kobe Jordan crosses the line in 19th spot. Sean Decay gets that car just about home with Jamie Nan-Curvis as all the cars cross the line here tonight. Finally, we'll see Decay bringing his rather second-hand car across the line, and there we go. The timing screen's properly sorted itself out. It is Darren McKenzie taking the win here tonight, with Ruben Phelps in P2, Joshua Walden in P3. Jai Schultz comes home in fourth position with Josh Micklemore in fifth. This has been almost a godsend for Micklemore's championship run. That's sort of helped him out to the expense of his teammate. Matty Ray comes home a strong sixth position. I said he'll probably finish in about P5. He made a liar out of me and came home in P6. Andy Barber finished in seventh with Kai Turner. A really strong race tonight, just getting caught with that incident in eighth spot. Lachlan Urquio in ninth. Jason Martin comes home in 10th position after a very strong run indeed. As we flick over the page, is Brad Fenley in 11th, with Luke Georgeson home in 12th. 13th is Michael Campbell with Tristan Koch in 14th. Phil Bissett comes home in 15th with Norman Clark 16th. 17th is Barry Neal. Kobe Jordan comes home 18th with Jamie Nankervis 19th. 20th is Sean Decay. 21st is Mark Smith with Aidan Schultz in 23rd. 22nd, I should say. 23rd is Wellman with Tristan Yelland finishing in 24th spot.
Well, that was a lot better of the race than what I thought. I thought it would spread out a fair bit, but yeah, it's some great battles right throughout the field again, Carl and Matt.
Yeah, it was a fantastic race. I've got to say, this is one of the best road courses I think we've had for a long time.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen in the trucks when they were here earlier on in the season that they really spread out. But tonight we had 4 or 5 different battle groups that we could keep an eye on, and it really made for some entertaining racing. And I hope the spectators enjoyed the show that the boys put on.
Less than 10 seconds separating the top 8 here tonight, and that's a rarity on a track like this, in cars like this, because they're not easy to go around. These things only have 4 gears. They have got very tricky gearboxes. They, they're not easy to drive on a road course. So a really good show from everybody.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we've got the boys in the green room, so we might pull up JCW first, Carlo.
Absolutely. I will bring up the Atari driver of the 35, Joshua Carroll-Walden. Welcome back to the booth, mate. It's been a while since I chatted to you, but congratulations on a podium here at COTA.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, this was really unexpected. Because I don't enjoy COTA at all, and I stuffed up my first coil lap, took a reset, and basically just had one last chance to put in a time, and got P2, and then I got a fantastic start, and yeah, that was some of the most intense and fun wheel-to-wheel action I've ever had on a road course in iRacing ever.
We enjoyed it up here in the booth, mate. It was a bloody good show from all the cars tonight. It was so close up there. I mean, that finish as well, it was neck and neck all the way to the line.
Yeah, exactly. And it seems to be the Thunder Series this year has got a bit of a habit for close finishes. and real tight racing so far this year. So yeah, it's good to see on that aspect. But yeah, like my car, myself, I had nothing at the end there. Like brakes were gone, tires were gone. I went for the undercut because traditionally the undercut works on road courses, and it kind of did, but it kind of neutralized, and it was just really, really hard racing with Darren, Martin, Kai, and then Ruben came from nowhere at the end, and yeah, it was a really, really good race.
Absolutely, that sneaky Kiwi came from nowhere. Obviously, those last few laps, you're probably very close to receiving a drive-through, were you?
Yes. I finished on 11 incident points. And yeah, I almost got a drive through on the last lap when I went to, very, very deep, too deep, into the hairpin at the top of the track. So that was a real hair-brazen moment, and yeah, like I kept it clean, kept it at 0 for the first stint, but um, when I was side by side with Darren and with Kai, I picked up 8 incident points because I got a 4x from both of them there, and it was just with this kind of track, like I knew it was going to be a theme. That's why I made sure to keep it extra tidy early. But yeah, it was just yeah, when Ruben came up behind me with 2 to go, I'm like, yeah, I can't make contact with this guy, otherwise I might get a drive through myself.
Really good run at the end there, Joshua. Well done tonight, and thank you for giving us such an entertaining race. Congratulations on P3 here at COTA. And before I let you go, the usual thing, the love, the shout out to all those adoring fans, and of course the team and the sponsors.
Yeah, first shout out to the guys I raced so hard with tonight. Darren for the win, Ruben, Kai, Martin. That was so much fun, guys. I really, really enjoyed that fight. Shout out to my teammates, Ed Foster, Daniel Hedershy, Toby Stent. We're doing really good things this year, and I'm really happy with how things are going. Shout out to our sponsors, AJD Australia, Fully Ford Limited, Turbo Alpha Japan, and M2 Sim Racing. Shout out to all the rest of the ANZCAR admins, you, Carl, Matt, Dakey, and J&G. And yeah, shout out to you guys as well for the broadcast, and for Mark for jumping in again tonight and doing some commentary.
Thank you so much, Mr. JCW. I'm sure we'll catch you back in the booth in the near future, but congratulations for tonight, and thank you for giving us such a fun race.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Well, next up, we're going to grab the flying Kiwi, the only Kiwi that can fly, and that is Mr. Ruben Phelps. Ruben Phelps, first of all, a bit of a surprise to have you up here in the booth, but second, congratulations on a bloody brilliant P2.
Yeah, it was very good to hear me in a podium or being able to get an interview on a road course. That means I'm improving a lot.
Well, you caught everybody by a bit of a surprise there, I think, at the end. That the overcut strategy really looked like it paid off for you tonight.
Like, I had a bit of pace in practice, and I thought, well, I'm going to go and qualify. I just had a balls up in qualifying, so started at the back. Obviously, took my time and just thought, well, heck with it, because I've had the worst luck in this series this year so far. Literally since 11th place finish in Daytona, and every other race has been 25th or worst. So, and you know where I usually finish. So I thought, let's just roll the dice and take my time and do my thing. And I decided to do the overcut, which obviously I managed to get a bonus point for leading a lap, and then of course everybody made mistakes and got penalties and started doing all these pit stops like lately, and just fell in nearly. Then it turned out to be the race for the win that I was having on Darren at the last corner, but it's a bit of a shame with Martin though losing his race win from the points. I know exactly how that feels from last week, so
yeah, for an odd change, it wasn't you, Ruben. I mean, it was lovely to see you having that run back. We were chatting up here in the booth, sort of saying, Mark had his doubts at the beginning, but I sort of noticed when you sort of came in how fast you were, and we were sort of placing you around about P5, maybe P4. Didn't expect to see you in P2. Yourself, you sound a bit surprised as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely surprised because, like I said, road courses are sort of the average medium for me, but I'm getting a lot, obviously, just being smoother and not trying to get too happy on the throttle and things like that. It takes a long time to get it, especially in these cars where you just consistently either lock up or get wheel spin, so because of the power in them. But obviously, once you get a bit of a rhythm going, then it's just a matter of keeping the speed going and the momentum, and you're pretty good. But I'm happy with that. Obviously, if I hit a curb at one point too, which cost me maybe 1.5 seconds trying to slow down. Obviously, to slow down to clear that. So if I didn't have that, I might have actually passed Darren. But oh well.
Well, if you can complain about P2 when you started in 19th spot at COTA, you're doing well. Congratulations tonight, Ruben. Thank you for giving us such an entertaining run there at the end. Before I let you go, though, the usual thing: shout out and love to the adoring sponsors and fans.
Yeah, I've got to thank obviously ASRM Australia for me being a part of the team, and Matty Ray and Lockie, and the rest of Russell's actually under the weather at the moment, so he hasn't been racing for a wee while, and of course Brenton and Noddy, and we've also got a couple of new drivers that have just been into the fray, so we'll do all that shortly. But no, of course, mobile brake and mechanical repairs, and Made of Auckland, and Lockie's charity of Tears Tourette's, and Brendan Henderson's Australia Alopecia, and Moondog.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ruben. Hopefully this will be the momentum you need to get back up in the top 3 and maybe a win in the near future, back in the booth on a more regular basis.
Yeah, definitely. It's starting to happen regularly. It's just got to keep out of these incidents because they're the ones that have screwed me at the moment. And even if none of them are my fault, it just happens to cost me. So once I clean that up, we're good.
All right. Thank you, Ruben. Have a good night, and we'll see you back here soon, I'm sure.
Cheers.
And finally, tonight, we will bring up the 0-2 of Mr. Darren McKenzie. Darren McKenzie, 7 stars. Congratulations on an epic road course victory here tonight at COTA.
Yeah, it looks like it gave me the win, but I'd like to apologise to Jason there. I think that contact when I turned down a bit early in turn 1 on the last lap there, it took him over the incident limit and gave him the drive-through and lost him the race. So, yeah, I'd like to apologise to Jason for that.
A wonderful, wonderful gesture there, because you two were giving us a fantastic battle out on the track tonight. I mean, not just you and Jason, of course, there were a few other drivers involved in that. But of course, the first corner incident there between you and Jason, that was the big moment of the race, of course. But it's one of those things that happens, unfortunately. But tonight, it's come out with you on top, at least in that respect of the finishing. First of all, congratulations on the racing tonight, because you gave us a hell of a show.
Yeah, I wasn't looking forward to the race, to be honest, after racing the trucks here, how slippery they were. And I think this car, it's a totally different beast. If you look after the tyres and don't actually push them at all, they'll go the distance for you. And it proved that tonight. I was able to stay with the leaders early, and then after the pit stop, I got that a dive into the back straight there on the hairpin, and took the lead from there. But me and Jason had the battle from there, so it was a really good race right the way through.
You had a couple of good dives there as well. There was the one where you got past 2 drivers at once as well. There was some fantastic moves. It looked like you were really confident under the brakes tonight.
Yeah, you really had to blip the throttle if you caught first gear too high, and it was instantly going to throw you around or give you compression lock. So if you could time the blip right and keep the revs high, and you could actually really dive down in there early with the good tyres.
No, it was some really great stuff to see. I mean, we won't talk too much about the end of the race, but throughout the race, you were having some great battles with about 6 other cars for the top spot tonight.
Yeah, I was saying to the boys in the green room, it was basically just sit back and chill behind the other drivers. I was using them to hold myself back, so I knew I easily overdrive the car. So that's why you're seeing us towards the end of the race. I did start getting a bit loose once I took the lead because I was pushing a little bit too hard.
Did you find the tyres got too hot too quickly as well?
Oh, for sure. That's what I mean. That's why I was using the pace of the guys around me to sort of hold myself back, because you light them tyres up on one turn, you're going to struggle for the next 5 laps.
Absolutely. Look, a great drive tonight, no matter what. A fantastic job, and well done on a victory for yourself. Before I let you go, though, look, love and shout out to sponsors and anybody you'd like to say hello to.
Yeah, once again, you guys for the broadcast, Performance E-Streaming, ANZCAR for putting on the racing each week, and all the guys that show up to race. It's as we've seen tonight, there's some awesome racing, good close racing, and it's always a good time. And the guys at Southern Stars, and we've got our sponsors, RBI Trading Cards, Tiona Holiday Park, SkyPoint, and Mish's XL Garage.
Look, congratulations tonight, Darren. Well done as well. This is going to be, it's a nice thing for the championship as well. Win number 2 of the season in the Thunder as well. And a bit of a surprise win, I'm sure, at COTA as well.
Oh, for sure. If you had asked me at the start of the season how I felt about the Xfinity car, it was, I honestly thought this was going to be the worst one I'd do all year. So to be having 2 wins and sitting up there in the championship, I'm liking the car this season for sure.
Great to hear. Hopefully we'll speak to you again in the very near future, Darren. Well done on the win tonight, and enjoy it. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. You too.
Darren McKenzie there, and sporting of him as well, just to mention that incident with Jason, because Jason did a heck of a job driving out there tonight. Really one of his best performances I've seen on a road course. Absolute stellar job for himself. But we'll just go through the final 10, top 10 again. It's Darren McKenzie taking victory tonight with Ruben Phelps in second. We've got Josh Carroll in third with Jai Schultz fourth. Fifth was Josh Micklemore. Maddie Ray came home in sixth with Andy Barber seventh. Eighth for Kai Turner, Lachlan Urquio nice, and Jason Martin rounding out the top 10 here tonight at COTA. Mark, tomorrow, if it's anything like tonight, I think we're in for a absolute riot.
Yeah, I think so. Those boys tomorrow night definitely won't be mucking around or playing games. I think they'll be straight into it again from the start. But it'd be interesting to see who turns up tomorrow night. If any of the DPR boys turn up, you've got to put them at the top of the table for the win, I think. But in saying that too, tonight has proved that there are other people out here that can pull a rabbit out of the hat and get a good win.
No, absolutely. Great stuff. Of course, you can catch us back here tomorrow night, same time, same place, but a very different car. It will be the Cup car here at COTA, of course, here on Performance E-Streaming. We will wish you all a lovely night. We hope you enjoyed that race, one of the best road races that we can think of for Thunder for sure. And hopefully tomorrow night will be a classic as well for the Cup Series. But for myself, Carl Wilkinson, with the Mr. Mark Johansson, and of course, Matty Hunter doing all the hard work on the cameras, we'll wish you a good night and see you back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.